All right, I think we're live now. Welcome everyone to another episode, our 8th, if I'm counting correctly, of Narrations and Lamentations with Mittierim and the boys. As always, I am Mittierim, and with me are the boys, Skip and Michael.
Just call me Rocket Raccoon today.
Oh God.
Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah, so I look like a raccoon with my sunburn.
So, yeah, Skip, for those of you, I don't know how many of you actually know where we are. And we're in sort of the middle area of North Carolina, and Skip drove in a convertible down from what, Virginia? Was it Virginia or West Virginia, Skip?
West Virginia.
Yeah, so basically got his face burned off. Except the obviously cool sunglasses he was wearing for anybody that wants to see his raccoonness. Okay, guys, so we'll go ahead and get into it tonight since we got a little bit of a late start. I want to apologize for that, by the way. As I'm sure everybody knows, real life occasionally gets in the way, and we have to do what we can to deal with it. So that was pretty much the reason for us not getting started for a little late tonight. So, got a lot of topics to cover. Some things I want to talk about, some things you guys wanted to talk about and sent in. But the first thing that we're going to talk about is a little, I don't necessarily want to say controversy that happened this week. For those of you that have not watched it yet, I posted a video in the Fluffmasters series that was designed to essentially go through each of our armies and have a little bit of a blurb about how we go from our narrative to where things are getting started to where we're picking up the end time stuff. Mm-hmm. And I guess to put it kindly, it was overall well received, with the exception of the fact that a few people tried to tear Skip a new lance hole. Generally, I'm not even sure where to go from that. Generally, like I said, everyone was nice about it, but I think the term they used to describe the Bretonia situation was far-fetched, and one person I know got upset because we essentially replaced the good royalty of Bretonia with chaos corrupted Alphonius. The other one complained more, I think, because of the fact that we didn't go into it anymore. We kind of made it a one-sentence statement, this is how it is. So what we want to do to start off is give Skip a little bit of a platform to explain kind of why he chose to give Alphonius the head honcho role and kind of what his thoughts were regarding the Bretonian time jump. So go right ahead, Skip. The floor is yours.
Wow, thank you. Okay. Well, the main thing that really took me into taking it in a direction is actually something that was written by Games Workshop. It said in the write-up for Bretonia, with all the Civil War going on, at the end of the result, a lot of the land and everything was starting to go bad and starting to be given over basically to chaos. The Beastmen were getting more recruits because of this issue that's happening to the land, because the lady has basically lost some of her power, I guess you can say it. So it just seemed to me like it would tie into exactly what Alphonius has happened to him. He thinks that he has the blessing as a lady when he doesn't. He's actually got, corrupted by the daemons. So I think it made perfect sense that since he's become leader, this has actually happened to the land of Bretonia, slowly but surely. Now, because I didn't want Josh to have to read an entire novel for the Fluffmasters video, I just kind of condensed it into a couple of battles. But this was actually stretched out over a 6-month thing. So I could see where it was kind of rushed and not a lot of explanation was given. But the way that Games Workshop wrote it, it just seemed to fit into exactly the direction I was heading with Alphonius anyway. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Okay. I also wanted to have you expound a little bit on, because I think, like, after I went back and rewatched it after people had complaints, I don't know whether this was an issue of how I read it or how you wrote it, but I think the I guess status of the Green Knight right now is a little in question. If you, without giving away too much, if you wanted to kind of go into what you were thinking of as far as the fall of Guy Le Breton and sort of the status of the Green Knight at present.
Right now, as it stands, there is no Green Knight. However, that being said, I do have plans to reveal a new Green Knight, because I like using the mini. I want to continue to use him as part of the fluff. I really like the idea of the Green Knight. It's going to be somebody completely different, of course, that has been sent back by the lady to help Cartasia in his quest to right the wrongs that Alphonius has been doing. So I will address it in the fluff.
Awesome. So out of just random curiosity, are you thinking of creating a new person, or are you going to be digging into Bretonian fluff and find another worthy candidate amongst the pre-written characters?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back into the history of the fluff and pull one from there. So it kind of ties into what I began, basically. So I think it's gonna fit all together once it's gonna be revealed. But I can see why there's been some concern. But no, I love the Green Knight. I want to continue to use him. So,
damn it. Yeah, and in general, the other point that I made kind of to everybody that was reading is there was, like I said, there was some outrage, which I guess just goes to show you how loyal Bretonian fans are, because really none of the other factions fans gave a shit.
Yeah, I'm a little heartbroken.
Yeah, I was kind of weirded out by it, but then again, I loved it, because I love, that there's also people who love Bretonian just as much as I do. So,
right.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, kind of using this as a bridge, there has been a little bit of sparked interest in the ogres, not so much from the Fluff Masters video I wrote, but from the last battle report. There have been, I think, more people know Torga's name now than any part about the White Tooth clan at all after that. So I actually wanted to generally let everybody know the next battle report that we're going to be doing, Michael and I are actually going to be playing it out, and it is going to reveal sort of what happened to Torga after the events of the last battle report and her terrifyingly bad interactions with the Lord of Undeath.
Oh my god, it was so terrible.
3 strikes, you're out.
So, Mitch Cowan asked specifically. He was one of the ones that was asking specifically about what Torga's fate will be, and I'm answering this directed at him because he did ask another question that nobody else did, and that was, if she comes back different, will I make a new model just for that? Unfortunately, I don't have any plans to do that right now, and part of the reason for that is that the mini that I'm actually using for Torga is just one of my female man-eaters. I don't even really have a model that I've been using, like, that I built with her in mind. It was just one of those, hey, what if this female man-eater is actually the daughter of the tyrant kind of things, and that's where it came from. Now, that being the case, considering that I like that model and I would like to continue using it, I don't know that I'll be, like, altering that model to make it fit with what's about to happen. And to be totally honest, with the new baby and everything, I'm not just financially at a point to start buying up new models for what may end up being a throw-off thing or something short. So, unfortunately, answer is no for right now. But we'll have to see. There's potential, and I'm hoping to work this out in the next several battle reports for the White-Tooth clan to change dramatically. And if things go super bad, I may not have any choice but to start getting new models and changing some stuff up. But we'll have to just let the story grow from that and go from there. So thank you guys all for worrying about Torga. There was just, I got a lot of response from people like, ooh, are you going to make Torga undead? Make her a revenant. Do this, that, and the other. So you guys will see. I'm pretty happy with what's going on. Michael thinks it's pretty awesome. He's seen what I'm planning.
Yeah.
And we don't want to give anything away, but that's just where we stand. So that before we go on, I guess we'll check. I don't even know if we have any viewers at this point. I think we've got a few. So let's check the. Well, okay, we did get a few bits. War General T says that he's been a big fan of the Bretts since earlier this year.
Awesome.
His army's been built, and he's got a few ideas on color scheme, but he hasn't. I guess he hasn't gotten the book yet. He wants to. Oh, I guess maybe he's talking about a new book to see if there's something cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, War General. I'm not sure where you're going with that. Dark CT says, "Ooh, intriguing topics tonight. Glad to be here whilst I prepare to post some videos myself." And oh hell, apparently, guys, Dark CT is in Greensboro.
Oh wow! Howdy,
Yeah,
neighbor.
so yeah, we're actually we play at my house in Jamestown, Dark CT. So we're literally probably 15 minutes from you.
Yeah.
I think you're technically. Are you in High Point or Jamestown, Michael?
I'm technically in Jamestown, but if I go like
Right,
5
but he's
feet,
like straddling
I'm
the
in High
border.
Point.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm the
And-
long distance guy.
So hell, man, I didn't know you were that close. We might have to have you down for a Tuesday game night sometime and
Yeah.
throw some dice.
Bring the
So,
dwarves.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hell, at this point, we're any new player that wants to come sit down and sling dice is welcome with me.
Yeah.
So that's cool, brother. It's amazing how we sit here and like we talk to people in halfway across the world and don't realize the ones that are 20 minutes from
Like,
the house,
yeah.
isn't it?
We're good at stuff.
Right. Well, the problem is, it's like they don't flag anybody from where you are, which I guess is good.
Yeah.
You wouldn't really want a whole bunch of creepers like following you home from Google Plus or something.
What are you
So-
talking about? I'd love that.
Well, you like to live a far more exciting life than the rest of us, Michael.
You know, I gotta get my jollies in where I can.
Right. Okay, guys. So that's all of the comments for now. So I'll let you guys pick. We'll say dealer's choice tonight. We can either discuss the other questions that Mitch gave, and go in through some of the questions that people sent in, or we could tackle our kind of main topic on women in Warhammer.
Let's go women's.
Yeah, let's go political with this.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
Let's talk about the ladies.
All right.
Wow.
All right, so let me just to, I guess we'll get this started with a little poll. Who is playing an army that specifically has female units or characters in it?
Are those ones that have pre-existing models or ones
Yes,
that you can build models for?
pre-existing models. If you opened up your book and you could look at a unit of females or a female character that is specifically denoted as such, do you play an army with that?
Let's see. The Hiles got 3 different choices.
Okay.
Beastmen are beastmen, so they don't really have choices. The dwarves don't, but they have a couple mentioned in fluff.
And I am leaving my hands down, despite the fact that demons could technically count, but they are kind of referenced as either asexual or hermaphroditic.
Yeah.
And Skip?
The damsels in Bretonia, and also the Dark Elves are full of them. Witch Elves,
Yeah.
Sisters of Slaughter, Hellebron, Moriarty, they're all there. So, yeah, two of my armies have it.
Okay, so that leads into the first question. Given that, with the exception of a few special characters from the High Elves, the damsels from Bretonia, all other women that specifically exist in the Warhammer universe are evil as shit.
No.
I think we're misunderstood.
I'm trying to think what they're called. The Sisters of Avalon.
Okay, all right. So yeah,
They are
each of the
guys.
Yeah, and the Wood Elves, I guess, have their sisters.
Yeah.
Sisters of Thorn, yeah.
All right. Well, then
Yeah,
let me back up on the rhetoric a little bit. Let me back. A overwhelming majority of the females in Warhammer are all Dark Elves. So I guess first thing I'll let you guys talk about kind of what do you think that says about the Warhammer world? What do you think is the Warhammer's world impression on women within the fluff?
They're frightening. Oh my god, it killed me.
Hey, I mean, they're powerful. You look at the Witch Elves and the Sisters of Slaughter. I mean, that's a strong unit.
Right, but here, let me throw this counter at you, though. The only reason that they are strong is that they're all supplicants to a male god.
Yeah, and that's the god of war.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you can turn it around and say that the Knights of Bretonia are supplicant to a lady god.
Very valid point, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you points for that.
Yeah.
So do you, in general, feel that within the fluff of Warhammer, women are portrayed, I guess, positively or negatively?
Probably a bit more negatively, but not in the sense of their characters are terribly written, in the sense that a lot of the characters tend to be evil as shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see. So, go ahead, Skip.
I said that could be good and that could be bad. I mean, you have to look. It just depends on your point of view. If you think evil is powerful, then yeah, they're very well portrayed. It just depends on your outlook on how you see it. Is evil stronger or is evil weaker?
So okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we're not even getting to the morality part, just looking at stronger is cool. And I'll tell you guys what got me thinking about this. This is not just kind of a random, well, I guess it is kind of a random topic, but there's a reason behind this. For the few of you that don't know, I have two daughters. They're very young. I mean, one is 3, the other one is less than 2 months old. But it's one of those things that I would hope at some point to bring them into this hobby. And the real question that kind of came as I was looking at it, is there any, or I guess how accessible is this hobby to a female player? And I'm not even necessarily talking about, girls wouldn't be able to understand the rules, nothing like that, but it's...
You don't have an actual female character as a female model.
Right. I mean, how easy is it for us to look at a model and go, ooh, that dude is me. I am just like that guy. And how much more difficult might it be for a female player, particularly a young female player, to do the same?
Yeah. I mean, the elves are about the only armies that have female characters.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And Bretonia has the Fey Enchantress.
For special characters, yeah.
Yeah. Beyond that, though, there's no... Well, the High Elves have in the Mage kit, the box kit, the one of the mages can be done up as a female.
Yeah.
So that
I think the Wood Elves have something similar, where like one of their 3 wizard models can be a woman.
yeah.
But
I mean,
the Warriors of Chaos have a few as well.
Do they?
Yeah.
No, I think that those ones that were being used by other Warriors of Chaos player were from a different company.
Mm.
Yeah, the model that Anya was, I'm pretty sure that it got.
Yeah, that was from Avatars of War. That wasn't.
Yeah, that was a barbarian something.
Yeah. If anybody happens to know, like, leave a comment and tell us, because I think there's a decided no there. But so here's the question. As I don't really want to get this too deep into a sociological argument about whether Warhammer is good for girl players or not good for girl players, because I want to tie it back into the fluff and ultimately into our campaign. While I was doing this thinking, I was thinking specifically about the characters that we have created. And I have very few. I mean, Torga, I guess I'll count Melisandre as a woman, even though she's really an asexual demon beast. And right. And I don't know if I should count Chandra Mardigan for my vampire, since I kind of stole her.
It's Valkia the Bloody is who I was thinking of out of the Warriors of Chaos.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Of course, if I recall, even she is attached to a man, because she's like described as the consort of Khorne, isn't she?
I think so. If I remember my fluff.
I think I want to be his consort.
Right. And so you don't have any female characters in the fluff right now, do you, Michael?
Not yet. When the High Elves are put on the board, they will.
Okay. And Skip, you actually, I think, have the most, because you had Chandra originally before I took her. You've got Aveline, and then you've got at least a couple Dark Elf, because isn't Shadowstalker a woman?
Yes, she is. And then my overall leader from my Dark Elves is female.
Yeah. All right. So even with that being the case, we have an average of less than 1 woman per army. Curious as to what you guys think, why that is, and what you think it says about us and our narrative. Particularly given how much focus we've been putting on Anya as a prize lately, since she...
Well, that's a beast, and they're demented anyways.
Right.
It's hard for me to say. I mean, I go with the opinion, and I think I've said this before, the way I play my Dark Elves is kind of like how Dungeons & Dragons set it up, where they're a matriarchal society. And that's the way I feel for, that's how I am playing. I think I think there needs to be a 50-50 mix. I don't see why that there should be there should be just men when there are men leaders in all these armies.
So in other words, because they don't make any models for it, we need to get to hell to work with some green stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I can say I've been a strong supporter of getting Hearthguard for the dwarves, mainly because I would like some female dwarves on the board. But on a counter side, the dwarves as an army, I can't see them having major females in power, as their fluff kind of negates.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I think that could be used as an easy excuse. I mean, I think you could argue that all of the fluff, with the exception of the Dark Elves, because they have such a strong kind of witch contingency and power, you could argue that the fluff, because they've always only had kings or emperors or whatnot, you could use that to kind of keep women characters out to begin with.
Well, I'm not saying they shouldn't have women characters. What I'm saying, though, is in their fluff, they state that there have been queens, but they haven't remained very long.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if I could have female characters in the Beastmen, which if I could get Anya, I would. But it's more that if I can't fit them into my army how I see it, I can't. With the Isles, I can definitely do it because they're new and fresh, and I can fit however I want.
So I guess that leads into my next question on this topic is because, particularly for your kind of your common your units, other than a few of the newer units like the Sisters of the Thorn and that sort of thing, GW's model selection is pretty overwhelmingly male. Do you guys feel like they're missing out on a potential segment of their audience? Do you think that they're hurting themselves by not making a wider selection of genders?
Yeah, I'm definitely all down for painting women. I'm cool with that.
Well,
Awesome. Well, way to go, Michael. You just set back all of the gender equality that we had been building for the last 20 minutes in one sentence.
Hey, they have
Awesome.
been painting all the guys, so I get the choice to paint women.
I kind of wish we could have had, like, Alaska Warhammer girl on with us to discuss this thing from a woman's side point of view, as I know my own wife doesn't want to come on the show at all ever. So, but it would have been nice to have somewhat of a less chauvinistic point of view on this one to balance Michael out.
What do you want from me? I'm a dwarf player. It's kind of in our blood.
well,
I'm sorry, Skip. I didn't mean to
that's
interrupt.
okay. Oh, not a problem. But if you look on the other side of things, I mean, if you look at the Mantic models for Kings of War, there's like for their good guys, there's an entire regiment of like warrior women that they're also cavalry for them.
Well,
A lot of there's like Queen models, there's assassin models. There's a lot in the Mantic line that they can't capitalize on. And I wish GW would maybe take a page from Mantic a little bit and start adding more of that.
I absolutely agree. I mean,
yeah.
I wish I had a way to fit in some of the Mantic human female models because they look freaking awesome. Like they've got like this unit of foot paladins or something that are all female, and they have a unit of like female panther riders.
Panther riders, yeah, they're really cool looking.
Well,
and it's like GW doesn't have much anything like that.
Well, speaking of, I mean, we're looking at GW. We're missing out on the whole fact that in 40K they have an entire army of females, which is the Sisters of Battle. Yes, the Sisters of Battle.
I thought they had pretty much discontinued that book.
They're still around. They're not popular by any means, but they're still around.
It's called the Bastilian Sisterhood Troop. Is what it's called for the female warriors from the Mantic line.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But
I have something.
Do you? Do you have
I do.
the Knights or the Panthers?
No, I've got
Panther
the foot. I've got the warriors. They come with like flails as their weapon of choice. They're pretty cool. I've got them primed, but I've never painted them.
That's cool. I tell you, it makes me. I saw one on Andy 2D6 did. A friend of his, Halfling Pete, has a all Halfling army, and he did a vid of it, and I love the Halfling housewives. They're like just a bunch of Halflings with big ass brooms, and it's like that's cool. Like I wish I knew where those models came from because they look awesome, but B. I guess I wish, maybe it's a wish for more variety. I think GW could and I understand it's expensive and they've got to balance sort of how much they would sell versus the cost to make it, but I definitely think there's room. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. There's room for more options in how the models look. I mean, even if with as many sprues as in, say, a group of Empire halberdiers, if you set it up so like half the sprues have different body setups and a couple of different heads, you could do enough to like mix a unit. Of course, I guess that would mean even those who didn't want to mix the unit would essentially be doing it. So I don't know. Maybe that's not a great way of doing it, but
it's an idea.
Yeah. So, oh no, go ahead.
How much would it cost them to add an extra sprue in there with just female body parts on it to mix in. Because, I mean, the arms and the legs are kind of interchangeable.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be too bad.
Just an upper torso and a couple heads on it.
Yeah. So I'm going to pop into our comments because apparently this is lighting some stuff up for folks here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
I'm
War
ready for the
General
hate
No, I don't think anything's hate. I was kind of speed reading it while you were talking. So War General T talks about how he plays the Sisters of Averlorn with the Handmaiden of the Queen and Prophetesses and Damsels for Bretonnia, and reminds me, as if that were necessary, that Ogres got females, the female man-eaters. I would agree with that, but there's one thing about that model that pisses me the hell off. It comes with a fake beard. And it specifically talks about, I don't remember if it's in the Ogre book or I think it is, where sometimes the female man-eaters will put beards on because of the sexist nature of the other ogres. It's like, really? Do you have to build that in? Yeah, so needless to say, I did not put the fake beards on either of my ogres because it's bullshit.
Wow.
Let's see. Tuna Sandwichify says, thanks for watching. I think this is the first time I've seen a comment from you, by the way. War General T2, thank you for watching. I don't recall if you've piped in on us before. That Chaos has D'Challa, who is apparently an old 5th edition Slanesh character. Was that before they made them all hermaphrodites? Because I know at one point, like, even the Demonettes used to be, like, totally female. He calls us out on Valkia, which we got. And he's seen fluff about other female warriors in the Warriors of Chaos book. So, and you may be right. I'll be honest. I just recently got the Warriors of Chaos book when Skip bought an extra one and was nice enough to give it to me. So I've only read it through like once or twice. So there may have been one that snuck through there. Good friend of the show, Vince Venturella, is popping in. I guess, okay. He's hitting our other points earlier. He says, Skip, if you're still playing Bretonnia, you are by definition a fanatic, which is not a bad thing. And 2, he says that I should modify Torga's base with a small token of her journey. Low cost, and it can show what's happened. And he can't wait to see what's happened to her. Yeah, I guess I could do, I guess I could do that. Come up with something to... Ooh. Okay, I'm going to have to talk to you guys after the show is over. I found out what I'm going to put on the base.
Cool.
Good idea, Vince. Totally stealing it. Thank you. But I don't want to give it away. Oh, cool. Andy 2D6, who is frankly, and totally unsolicited pump for Andy here, he is one of the funniest guys to make these videos I have ever seen. Pretty much every video of his I've watched has had me laughing aloud, so definitely go check him out. He's a great content maker. And in true Andy style, he says the first words he heard were asexual demon beast. I'm intrigued. And then Vince pops in with some actual points about what we're talking about now. That he thinks Warhammer is basically where comics were about a decade ago. Most characters were white males because they were legacy characters created by white males decades earlier. Warhammer Fantasy Battles is in much the same place. Most women are either Xena warrior princesses or sex power fantasies. They don't have any depth. Though, to be fair, the male counterparts don't exactly have a great deal of depth either, but they're allowed a larger range of character. I'll agree with that. And he talks about how comics in the past decade have worked hard to change that and have started making more diverse characters. And points out basically if we look in other mini ranges like Manic, you see a lot more female warriors, all of which are fully clothed and have some characters. But because Warhammer is still dealing with so many of legacy issues to maintain the history and fluff, it leads to things being the way they are. There is absolutely nothing I disagree with in that statement. And he does remind us that apparently the Glade Guard for the Wood Elves are mixed. They're about 50-50 male and female. Oh, which cool. I seem to remember my wife saying something to that effect when she was painting them. And apparently D'Challa, I asked Tuna Sandwichify if she was a like cross-gender, whatever. Apparently, she was a snake-bodied, four-armed person. So,
Alrighty.
I guess like a Marylandeth for those of us who play D&D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then Dark CD, wow, dude went off on a run on this one. As far as he knows, all the units are Skaven or male. However, it's hard to say for sure because there's a divergence in how female slavery are considered depending upon people's thought process. Personally, he doesn't subscribe to the concept of Skaven women as innately born birthing machines, whereas he takes them just as the male version with some being experimented on for Skaven numbers. He blames Clan Molder. They do crazy crap. And then he specifies, and this is frankly something that makes a certain amount of sense, that he thinks he takes it that there are female soldiers in most of the armies. However, they're just not represented as models. He again points out the Glade Guard being made up for sexes. And I agree with that. There may be in the fluff female warriors and stuff, but I think for a girl coming into the hobby, if you don't see it on the table, does it really count? And he says he agrees with us that it does bother him that there aren't more female models in fantasy or 40K. And he says one of the things he likes about Malifaux is there are a ton of unique women's in there. And I agree, although I got to say, like, every time I look at some of the art from Malifaux, I get put off. Maybe it's just because of, like, I don't know, it's almost like gothy fetishist look to it. I haven't dug very deep into it, so maybe I'm just looking at, like, the wrong, I don't know if they have army books or something, but the art for that has really put me off. That and, like, I don't remember if it was, like, baby puppets or something. It was weird. Definitely not my shtick, so. And yet he actually does mention those Sisters of Battle you were talking about, Michael. He says he was originally drawn to them as well, but they warded him off because they only keep them in pewter, so it's $80 for a 10-girl squad.
Oh yeah, they're not cheap.
And he shouts, as we all should, "Where are the Amazons?" So,
yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree, and I don't know if you guys have read those fan-made army books. Like, they did the Halfling one, and they did a couple others. But I read the Amazon one, and I was like, if I could find the models for that, I would totally do that book in a heartbeat. Because it's freaking amazing, and really with what it's got in there, you could even do it sort of as a counts as Wood Elf army, I think. But it's sort of like humans mixed with lizard men. Because apparently, like, the Amazons all worship the old one gods, so they have like Sotek powered. I don't know. See, I don't know much of the fluff of the lizard men either. Like it.
Well, no,
but,
I mean it makes sense.
Yeah, but they're all over there in Lustria.
I thought that Games Workshop did for Blood Bowl an Amazon football team.
Did they?
I want to say they did.
You might be right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did, but again, I think that was just more of a sign of their.
Yeah.
Because they could have scantily clad women wearing football helmets, kind of bit. I think that was a pure play to get the. Or were they all cheerleaders? I don't. Did they have like a whole army of Amazon cheerleaders? I don't know. So, all right, guys. Well, I think unless you guys have anything more to discuss on this topic, I think we'll wrap this one up with a big shaming finger for Games Workshop for not having more good female role models in their games. Okay, sorry, I got to go back to the comments real quick because it just refreshed. And I've got one from Mr. Malorian says, old-fashioned, and I like topless white chicks. So if we had not totally destroyed our any sense of the fact that we were trying to discuss something seriously, that pretty much does it. He also does confirm that there was an Amazon Blood Bowl team, which apparently he was a big fan of. So thank you. So before we get into any further discussion of Malorian's predilections, let's let's go on into some of these questions. So I guess we'll go back to Mitch Cowan since I started with his. Now that we're approaching the end times, will we be seeing Nagash in a battle with my own undead legions? You guys want to answer that one?
Does anybody want to shell out like the $150 he is?
Absolutely not.
Well,
I don't. I can buy a lot more models with that.
Yeah. I think to us it comes down to a price thing. I mean, I actually thought that maybe I would buy the big base he goes on and do it as like a diorama of a human-sized Nagash summoning dudes, because frankly,
That makes more sense.
giant mecha Nagash is pretty retarded because I still don't have my Godzilla mini to fight him with.
Oh no, it's Mecha Godzilla.
But to be honest, I don't really know that that's where we're going with it. None of us are playing Tomb Kings, so the last half of the narrative or the campaign battles in the book don't really make a whole lot of sense if you're not playing Tomb Kings.
Yeah.
And I honestly, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Skip.
I actually have a bomb to drop on you two tonight.
Uh-oh.
I have made a major coup and actually traded some old books of mine to a friend of mine for a Tomb King army.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
No,
wow.
we didn't make what we said.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's drop back and punt that idea. Okay. So I guess that we'll have to turn that into a firm. We'll get back to you, Mitch.
We'll get back to you on that one. Yeah.
So awesome. Like how many? I mean, what kind of points are we talking about?
I have about 2,500 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Does this guy need any other books? Because I have lots of books. And
No,
less than I would like.
It was a guy. It's an old friend of mine. He loves Birthright, the old D&D stuff, and I had a ton of it that I was never going to use. So we just traded because he was getting out of Warhammer. He didn't really care for the new stuff anyway. He hasn't played with it for a while, so we just did an even trade. Yeah.
That's nice.
Painted or you got to do a ton of painted?
Painted.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool. So awesome. Well, now we do have Tomb Kings in. That'll be great. Okay, so I guess this leads into So I guess this leads into the next question. Will anyone else other than me be giving the lore of Undeath a try, or are we done with that experiment?
Skip.
Probably not. I like the Tomb King's lore anyway. I might try Undeath, but I still like the Tomb King's lore better.
Well, what I think the point is, though, is one of your main arguing points against it was that it only works for people who have undead models. You, sir, now have undead models. So when do we get to see Bretonia fall to the lore of Undeath?
Wow. I could probably add that to Alphonius' side. Yeah, that may work.
Well, yeah, but
aren't they? Yeah, they're kind of like opposite teams, man.
It's all messed up. Who knows?
Yeah,
it's chaos.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to trashing some undead now. That makes me happy. All right, so we'll do. Actually, I want to do Malorian's question next, so I'm going to jump down a little bit, and then we'll get to the questions that Vince sent us. He specially made a question for each of us, so that'll be exciting. So Malorian asks, should all armies have access to a large list of monsters as mounts for their characters? And if there was, what mount would you take in your army and for what character?
Did he? I don't know if I heard. Did he specifically say monster mount?
That's what he said. Yeah, monsters.
Okay.
So should every army have monster mounts?
I don't see. I mean, most armies should, but there are a couple that shouldn't. Dwarves, for instance, I don't really see them
You
having
don't think they
monsters.
should have a giant purple worm or something to ride around on? Go
No,
all shy halud on somebody's ass?
no, that's not my envisionment of a dwarf.
Okay. Yet you're perfectly fine with bear cavalry.
Hey. Bears are natural animals. They'll use natural animals, not like
How about a
dragons
very
and
large?
shit.
How about a very large bear?
Okay, if I can get a very large bear, I'm hip to that. A dire bear, I'll take.
Like a
Well,
bear the size of a school bus.
Oh God, you know how much I can kill with that?
well, what
Okay,
about a monstrously like a construct, like a giant golem?
But I mean, well, for the golems, I don't think I could see a dwarf riding it as much. I mean, maybe he just jams his oath stone in the back of it and stands on top of that. Maybe the golem is the oath stone.
That could be
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of side with Michael on this one. I think every army that it's fluff appropriate to should definitely have options for mounts, for monster mounts. But more important to me, and before I would necessarily want to see a bunch of monsters, please give us mounts for all the same kind of dudes that your normal rank and file can ride.
Seriously.
Why the hell does it make sense that a Night Lord from Empire can't ride a demigriff?
I mean, right?
Apparently there's only enough for the rank and file, so there's 15 in every freaking Empire army you see. But the Lord can't, like, commandeer that shit.
Yeah. Excuse me, knight. I'm going to ride this.
And frankly, I would straight up choke somebody for the ability to put a tyrant on a Mournfang. Like, absolutely right now. Give me a name. Who's got to die to get me that model?
Oh, we have to go to the Games Workshop.
Right. I'll
You have
book a
to go to
trip to
England.
Nottingham. We're doing this.
Okay, I'm hip for that. They didn't give me Hearthguard or Bearcat, so let's do this.
But like I said, I think the big thing before necessarily you want to like pile monsters on everybody is just make some of the internal consistency things make sense. As far as mounts, as far as what monster mount I would like to see, I would like to see the Throne of Noblars thing that Greasus has become just something you could put anybody on, because it would be funny. It would be terrible, but it would be awesome to just like make a pile of Noblars and have them carry my tyrant around.
Oh, your Noblar love.
Dude, when they stop kicking y'all's asses, I'll stop loving them.
I'm just gonna start using magic on them all the time.
You guys should. You guys let those things live way too freaking long, is all I gotta say. Every game.
We don't realize their threat until it's too late.
But learn from history, dude. How many times do the Noblars have to do something absolutely retarded before you guys just blow them to kingdom freaking come?
I'm American. I don't learn from history.
All right, so Skip, sorry, we've been trampling all over your answer for this. What do you think?
I would not mind seeing. I mean, Dark Elves have dragons. A lot of the armies have dragons. Why don't Bretonnia have any good dragons to ride? Why do we get stuck riding a hippogriff? They suck.
Because the elves took them all.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. But I like to
stole
still
all
like
the
that.
dragons.
Well, the High Elf fluff said that all the dragons come from their land.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't even mind the hippogriffs being sort of the Bretonia's thing, provided they were worth a shit.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah, I mean, you buff them up a little bit, they're not terrible. They'd not be terrible. It wouldn't take a whole bunch to make them decent.
Yeah.
But only a lord can ride it. You can't put a paladin on it. You can put a paladin on a royal Pegasus, but you can't put one on a hippogriff.
Really? I didn't realize that was the case.
Yeah.
That's weird.
So that's cool. All right, so I guess overall answer to your question, Malorian, a definite maybe. I personally like monsters. I would like more of them. I would like a demon of Nurgle to be able to ride a Jabberslythe, because that's freaking cool. Um, and I have an unreasonable love for that Jabberslythe mini. I'm not entirely sure why. I think it was because I saw Reef. The two that Reef painted up are freaking gorgeous, like absolutely beautiful. And it's one of those things, you see a model and it looks so good, it overrides your sense of good judgment, and you think because it's painted so good, it has to be amazing on the table. And then you play it, and it's horribly disappointing, but it still looks good.
It looks pretty dying.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I just think of the idea of, like, popping a Herald of Nurgle on one of those bad boys and have him fly around driving everybody crazy would be pretty awesome. Okay, so Vince basically set us up a question for each of us. So, because I've been doing a lot of talking, I'm actually going to do these in opposite order, because he asked mine first, so I'll ask mine last. So, the first one is for Skip.
Okay.
Regarding the Bretonnians, which would you rather see? Pegasus Cavalry at core, or a new peasant unit added to the game?
That's a no-brainer. I want a new peasant unit.
Any thought?
I mean, Pegasuses are okay, and that stupid restriction where you can only have one unit of them unless you put a lord on it, which can't join them anyway, it needs to go. But I would, as much as I play peasants, I would like to see something new. Like, the upgrade basically from the men-at-arms is going to a mounted yeoman. Okay, because their weapon skill goes up a little bit, by one, I think. I'd like to see them do a little bit like a better progression, like towards, more foot soldiers, like make them a little bit better, or make an elite unit of peasants. Or
I actually want them to go the other way with it, Skip. Have a lower unit than the men-at-arms. Have it be like the street urchins. Have it be little. No, dude, it would basically make them Noblars. Like, what you do is you have them as, like, little, small, scouting, skirmishing units that just show up on the battlefield because they're out looking for food or something. And then, like, when the enemy shows up, they huck rocks at them. I mean, it would be perfect. There's your new peasant unit.
Wow.
Oh, his love for Noblars has gone into other armies. Oh my God.
Oh, come on. Don't you think, with all the trouble you're having with chaff, don't you think it would be awesome to send, like, little clouds of, like, little street urchins to block up shit and intercept other people's chaff before the knights trample everything?
I kind of feel like maybe Games Workshop wants to stay away from the slaughter of children.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
That might be frowned upon in the UK.
Please, Mr. Ogre, I just want a gram of food.
Please, sir, may I have some more? Otherwise, I'm going to chuck a rock at you.
I guess I am in a grumpy mood today. I'm suggesting street urchins as chat units. But in all seriousness, so something basically in between the mounted yeoman and the men-at-arms?
I think so. I've seen the mounted yeoman as a progression towards knighthood. That's just me. But I think that it should be, like a progression from men-at-arms to like a marching paladin unit or something. I don't know.
Well, you'd have to have the matching paladin unit first.
Yeah.
Well, I could see
details.
Right. I could see with like maybe a unit of woodsmen or something.
Yeah.
Like maybe give them scouts with great weapons for like a woodsman's axe or something. Like
That's something we don't have. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of hooked on like getting Bretonia some scouts. I don't know why, but like every time I think about them, I think about scouts.
It makes sense. We don't have any.
The woodsman's not a bad idea. The High Elves literally have the White Lions of Charis are woodsmen in armor.
What?
So why don't the Bretonians get that? Yeah, that's what they are. They're axe cutters. Or they're wood. Yeah, they're tree cutters. That's what they are.
Are you freaking kidding me?
The axes they carry are woodmen.
Only the elves would turn freaking day labor into an elite warrior class.
Well, The reason is that the woodsmen protected the Calidor, one of the former kings, from being assassinated by dark elves, and so he made them his personal bodyguard. But yeah,
I
that's
guess,
basically
but
where they come from. Is they're all tree cutters.
freaking knife ears, man. I'm feeling very dwarfy today. I think I'm going to paint up my other dwarf bolt thrower and a grudge, and then all my other terrible dwarf war machines, and throw armies of slayers at you. just so that you kill so many of them you get tired and have an elven heart attack.
Oh,
I don't think I can kill that many.
Right. I don't think I have that many models to put on the table either. All right, before I get to the second question, let's go check the comments, because for some reason I'm getting them. Like, my email is pinging that I'm getting them, and they're just not showing up on the page because YouTube is awesome like that, I guess. I don't know.
What it does.
And apparently, Malorian, and I meant to mention this earlier, but he mentions that there was also in Blood Bowl an orc cheerleader.
yes,
which
I remember that.
Frightens me more than a little bit. Ugh. And apparently Vince has sent me a picture of the Blood Bowl Amazons, but I can't open it because apparently refreshing a page of YouTube is enough to bring my computer to a screeching halt. I hope you guys are still hearing me, right?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, good. Because I don't know what the hell is wrong with this freaking machine. So, okay. Oh, crap. It's doing that thing where it's not putting them in the right order anymore. So if I miss somebody's comment, please forgive me. But Dark CT says, yes, please, on more mounts. Michael, he says you should have a dwarf engineer piloting a runic golem. You could even put a cannon in its chest and moonwalk over people.
Oh, why did I not think of that?
And he agrees with Iron Man. Right. And he agrees with me that ogres should ride the Mournfang. And then he seems to get very distracted about what the Skaven could add, and starts going off in some Skaven talk. So, okay. So, question 2. This one's for Michael. Michael, regarding the dwarves, would you rather the dwarves get a new war machine or fix the Anvil of Doom?
Oh God, for everything that is holy in the name of Grimnir, fix the frickin' Anvil of Doom. I don't need another war machine. We've got plenty of those that I can use at super effectiveness. Anvil of Doom, better. The old school Anvil of Doom, I could just beat the living hell out of people with all day.
Well, I kind of agree with you. I definitely don't want to see the days of the old Anvil of Doom show back up, but I think that there is some middle ground they freaking pole vaulted over to arrive at the steaming pile of crap that they've got in there now.
It's just
Of course, I did hear a really great use for that on a comment on one of the Sustainable Center's reports.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, it makes a gorgeous unit filler.
Oh, yeah, I guess. I mean, not terrible, but I really don't use it as a unit filler.
Yeah, it's sad because I love the model, but I can't
it's gorgeous.
I could barely imagine spending that much for a single model before it became crap, and it's like I really can't afford to spend that now, and because it's just I never get any use out of it. Even as much love as I have for the terrible Dwarf War machines, the Bolt Thrower and everything, I wouldn't even bring that one.
Well, I mean, the only reason I got it was because it was at Hobby Lobby and it was 30% off.
Hobby Lobby? You mean Hobby Town?
Yeah, Hobby Town, not Hobby Lobby. Yeah.
Right.
Remember when they were having that 30% off Warhammer pants and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, that was before I picked up the I think I only had the ogres at that time, and they didn't have anything good for the ogres.
Yeah, because you told me about they had a bunch of dwarves in there.
Yeah. I was going to get my freaking Shield Bearer Lord from there, and they sold out right before I got it. So.
I bought one of those.
You dick. All right, so here's my question. Let's imagine the ogres get a new super large mini like Nagash and the rumored big chaos dragon. What would I want it to be? I've been doing a lot of thinking about this, and I want a chariot, mainly because I have an unholy love for chariots. But I actually saw something the Empire used to have. It was like this big war wagon, where it was like this wooden tower with a bunch of dudes in it. I want to see an ogre version of that. Imagine it being pulled by like 2 Mournfang. It's a big tower with like half a dozen ogres in the back of it. Maybe some Noblars driving the thing. It would probably be 550 freaking points, but it would still be a chariot, so it would only move 8 and be terrible, but I would love every minute of that. Like an ogre war wagon would just be freaking amazing.
Oh,
what do you guys think?
Just the idea that I'm glad you didn't say it was just packed full of Noblars.
Well, I was thinking about it, but I decided the Noblars would be better as the mount, the monster mount, just a pack full of Noblars. Actually, the other thing I was thinking of would be cool is if the ogres got the equivalent of the Doom Diver, except instead of a big catapult, it's just like a giant stuffing Noblars into a cannon and firing them out. That could be pretty cool too. See, I've got all of these ideas for great things. Games Workshop should hire me right now. I can't design any of them or make them look pretty. Maybe they should hire me and Alicia together, my wife. I'll come up with a cockamamie ideas and she'll make them slightly less retarded and feasible. It would work well there.
I really want that Games Workshop hire them.
Right
now,
because we all know that Games Workshop watches this show, right? And apparently forwards it. Yeah, apparently they forward it to their HR department, right?
I mean, we take our hopes.
Yeah, I don't think today is a good day for hopes, my friend.
No.
But we'll take what we can get. So I think that was all of the discussions. So we would like to, I guess, get ready to wrap this up with some good news. Well, I hope you guys will take this as good news. With Malorian bringing Warhammer Weekly back on a different day, we have discussed it and decided that we will be continuing to do Narrations and Lamentations for the foreseeable future. So we've done 8 episodes so far. You guys seem to be liking it. I think we still have a bunch of stuff to talk about, and if not, we can obviously are fairly skilled at making up random crap. So we will be continuing to do this for as long as you guys find it entertaining and enjoyable. So that being the case, if there's anything you particularly would like to see us deal with, talk, things like that, I think with this turning into a more constant thing, we may even do more like fluff research and talk and dive into more kind of strange fluff things. Maybe like the Women Warhammer thing we did tonight. It's kind of a starting point for that sort of stuff. But if there's something particular that you guys are like, why the heck is this way? Maybe we can dig into it. The other thing that was the suggestion that I've been kind of mulling around in my head from the last couple of weeks is that we basically do a fluff fight between 2 characters in the Warhammer lore. Mm-hmm. And we kind of think about them, and one of us will take the position of a moderator, and the other 2 will essentially argue for why their dude is better. And we'll kind of decide that, have that as a little thing. So I'd like to maybe do that next week. So if anybody, I figured it would be fun to kind of let the viewers pick who the first 2 matchups would be. Mm-hmm. So if you guys would like to sort of hear us argue out 2 different characters, special characters within the game, put the comments on the video, and we'll kind of pick one and go from there. And if we get enough interest in it, we can make it kind of a common thing in the show. Sound good to you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we've been going about an hour now. I think we've run out of topics for tonight. So unless you guys have anything else to say.
Yeah, we'll do the show up until the 100th episode, then Michael and I will renegotiate our contract.
Right.
Yeah. And one of us will get a new show.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I'll double the zero I'm paying y'all now. How about that?
Yes. So much more with more zeros.
Woo! Right. You have a 100% salary increase, baby. You're moving up in the world.
I'm totally for that.
Living the dream. All right, guys. Well, let me do. I guess I'll do one more attempt to refresh this. I think we're out. And yeah, hey, just Dark CT, man. I totally didn't realize you were literally the next town over. So if you find yourself free on a got nothing kicking on a Tuesday night, send me an email or a message through YouTube. We'd be totally interested in throwing down with you, and doesn't have to be a narrative game, no pressure or anything. Just come on over and we'll have a good time. You can either bring your armies, or God knows I've got 5 sitting here. So so more than welcome to borrow an army and throw down with us. So looks like we are. Whoa, I am hearing myself talk to me.
Yeah.
Stop. Have I said
He's just not
recently?
entering himself.
Right.
Oh,
Have I
no.
said recently how much YouTube has been annoying the shit out of me all week? Okay, and of course, Dark CT is jumping up and down saying, "Please fix the Anvil of Doom." So I think we went on that for a while. Balorian wants our first argument to be Grimgore versus Skarsnik, so we'll have to do our goblin research if we're going to do that one, fellas. But yeah, definitely keep those ideas coming. We'll get them put together and can decide who we're going to argue, and go from there. Okay. So you guys have any last minutes? No?
Nope.
All right. So we thank you guys again for watching, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye now.
Goodbye.